Check, check. There it is. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Had a little bit of a microphone issue there. Technology, baby. You know how that goes. But let's get this thing rolling. I'm only been on here for what, a minute? No big deal. So let's get this thing rolling as always. Hey, what's going on? Charles Austin here, and let's be fit forever. So today, I wanted to answer one of those questions that I get asked a lot, that I pose a lot, that I hear a lot, social media, television, blog, whatever you want to talk about. Very popular question as I was checking here. Sometimes I check my streams to make sure they're actually working because I had a little microphone issue there. But anywho, I wanted to answer, talk about a question that's very popular, and that one is the one about, are we made to eat meat, right? Are we designed from a physiological perspective to consume, eat, absorb, digest, etc. meat? Okay? And physiology just means the way stuff works in your body, right? So I found this picture up here because I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was fitting for the moment. And yeah, you can stare at that while I do the main remainder of my introductions. Before we get started, as always, make sure that you like this video, because this video, and just like all the other videos, are awesome and amazing and informative, right? So make sure you like the video. And once you decide that you like the video, subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so that you're always up to date with the latest content. Now, we're doing these streams every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Sometimes on the weekends, randomly pop up. Might do it this weekend. We'll see how it goes. And I missed last week. For any of those who are out there who are like, yo, where was this guy? He wasn't here last week. Crazy, hectic, busy week. Life happens. Y'all know how that goes. So I wasn't on last week, but here I am back dropping knowledge nuggets again. Okay, so but let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. So again, question is, are we designed physiologically, right? I didn't put all that into the title. I didn't put all that into the YouTube thumbnail, right? But are we programmed to eat meat? All right, so I'm gonna start with a very good explanation of some things. Explanation of this topic. I'm going to start here, and as you can see, this thing is long, right? Now, I'm not going to drag y'all through all of that. I try to keep these, 20 minutes or less or so for the most part when I do these streams. I try to get to the point, okay? But what I wanted to do is kind of go over some of the items that you see here in this article, right? And what this article was just an explanation to the best of my knowledge. Now, I didn't read the entire thing, obviously, because I didn't feel like reading the entire thing. But what I could gather from this writing is that it was a response to a question, or it was a continuation of a topic that was being discussed, right? And I found some very good points in this, and I wanted to share that with y'all real quick, which kind of illustrate the way I like to explain this a little bit better. So real quick, the article kind of starts out where it's talking about the fact that, all animals, including humans, and if you don't know whether or not you listening to this are an animal, you are an animal, okay? For whatever reason, there's this big debate that humans aren't animals. Well, if you're a mammal, that makes you an animal. But anyway. It says, so all animals, including humans, can be classified in relation to the diet they consume, right? And those main three classifications, the stuff that you've probably heard of in grade school science class, include carnivores, which of course carnivores eat meat only. You got omnivore, and examples of carnivores are like sharks and gators and tigers and lions and stuff like that, right? Then you got omnivores, right? And they eat a little bit of both, all right? And examples of those are like bears. What else? What's another good example? Why am I having a brain fart? Chimps. etc. I don't know why I'm having a brain fart, but those are examples, right? And then you also have herbivores, right? Of course, they just eat plants. And examples include things like horses, cows, sheep, stuff like that. Okay. So, and as it goes on here, they talk about the fact that the current diet, and we're talking about the diet that we have right now. What is it? It's year 2022 right now, right? The current diet of humans would suggest that we are omnivores. And as you know, because most of the human population exists on a diet which contains a combination of plants and meat. All right, now as it goes on here to say, however, this diet classification does not take into consideration whether man is a true omnivore, right? And the point is, just because you're doing something, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should be doing something, right? So as it says here, meaning, are you designed to be an omnivore, right? Okay, so where is it? So the definition of omnivore does not require that an omnivorous animal be perfectly suited to even have that diet, right? So you can be omnivorous, if you will. You can eat animals and you can eat plants. That doesn't necessarily mean you're made to. Even though you're doing it, you can say, well, I'm omnivore, right? You could slip, I guess you could slip a little piece of chicken or something into the grass of a cow, right? Something that's so small that he wouldn't notice. And then now that cow is omnivore, okay, right? And, you know, it'll process through, it'll go out, and then they'll poop it out for the most part, right? But that doesn't make the cow an omnivore, right? Okay, so examples in nature of omnivores show that such animals do not develop omnivorous adaptation to more precisely meet all their nutritional requirements, but to adapt to eating a diet based on the food that is available. All right, so again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have these adaptations naturally. It doesn't mean that these are things that you were naturally born with. It just may mean that, hey, I'm hungry and I found that over there and I got to do something and I got to figure out a way to survive, right? So in other words, omnivores are opportunistic, etc. So as it goes on to read here, defining an omnivore does not require that omnivorous animals be perfectly suited for that specific combination of meat and plants, right? So here's where I really wanted to kind of focus in. That was just kind of a quick little intro before we move on to some other things here real quick, because I don't want to stay on this page because it's just a bunch of words and I don't want anybody going to sleep out there, right? But I did want to make sure I highlighted a couple more things before I moved on. And the only thing I'm trying to paint a picture for here is the fact that, again, just because you do something doesn't mean you should do something. Again, I already gave you the example of the fact that, hey, you could slip a little piece of chicken ever so small into the grass that the cow is eating, and he'll eat it, won't even know it's there, most likely. That doesn't make him an omnivore, even though he still ate it, right? So here we go. So this is one of my favorite parts of this whole article here, right? So when people say that humans are omnivorous, right, they confuse adaptation with physiological need. So again, we're talking about the adaptation, meaning I'm hungry, I need to survive, there's nothing else that's out here for me to eat, and I saw that over there and it must have some nutrition in it, so I'm going to eat it. Okay? And this topic actually goes deeper than this. There are certain ethnic and racial components to this as well, but we're not going to talk about that today, right? All right, there's a reason why certain ethnic groups are more likely to digest certain foods than others. Okay, but anyway, so again, feeding patterns do not always indicate the most suitable diet, right? So again, what are we talking about here? Just because you continue to do something doesn't mean it's what's most suitable for you. Doesn't mean it's what's best for you just because you do it. Many people argue all the time that, hey, I've been doing this for so long and look at me, I'm fine or whatever. That's not the best argument, right? Okay, so again, the science of nutrition and dietary requirements is based on dietary need versus food choices throughout the history of mankind. Okay, and lastly, before I move on, again, let me read that again just so you understand exactly what we're talking about. I'll start here again and we'll move on. When people say that humans are omnivorous, meaning omnivores, they confuse the adaptation with physiological need, meaning again, they're confusing being able to with being made to. Okay? And as we go down here, the science of nutrition and dietary requirements is based on dietary needs versus food choices throughout the history of mankind. And in determining the best diet for mankind, the questions that need to be asked are, do humans have a physiological necessity for meat? Physiological. Again, physiological means all the parts in your body. Do you have a need for meat? Are those parts that you have in your body designed for meat? So let's explore this a little bit further. So hopefully we were able to paint a little bit picture and get you thinking about these questions, right? The cool thing about science is there's plenty of questions. And what do you do to find answers to those questions? You discover, you investigate, you test, you retest, you investigate, you test, you retest, you ask more questions, you test, you retest, you get results, and then eventually you come to some conclusion with that is the most reasonable, right? So let's go through some differences between herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, right? I don't like the way this site looks. It's kind of annoying to me, but the point of this site is to make these comparisons, right? Now I'm going to go down this list, and a couple of these I'll break down a little bit further. A couple of these I'll skim right through because again, I don't like to waste time. I like to get to the point, right? So let's talk about some differences real quick, right? So we already know the diet. Herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat meat, omnivores eat a little bit of both, right? So let's talk about facial muscles real quick. So as you're watching this, start doing things like this and ask yourself, do I have fine, refined facial muscles, right? Now I may look silly right there making all these weird faces, but I'm making a point. As it says here, herbivores have complex facial muscles. Carnivores have reduced facial muscles. And omnivores also have reduced facial muscles, right? Well, let's look at facial muscles in a human, right? Real quick. As you see, your face has almost 20 flat skeletal muscles that attach to different places on your skull. The craniofacial muscles are essential to chewing. We're going to come back to that. Because where are we? We're on Cleveland. What is that? Cleveland Clinic? Yeah. Your muscles are designed for chewing that's on your face. Okay? All right? And what I wanted to do is also I wanted to highlight a specific muscle. This one right here that you're going to see again in a second. And this is a muscle that runs from cheek to cheek and on your jaw and helps your jaw close. Okay? Again, you can see there's so many muscles. Look at all these muscles. I'm not going to go through all of them. So many muscles on your face that makes you make all these different facial expressions. But one of the things that it does allow you to do is chew and move around food in your mouth. All right. If you think the facial muscles are just for you to smile and frown and things of that nature, tell jokes, whatever it may be, not really. One of the main things is to allow you to manipulate food in your mouth, chew, all those different things, right? And another one real quick, I actually had this conversation with somebody earlier today. How many carnivores can you think of that have lips? Anyway, I'm just going to move on. All right. So, jaw point, let's go to jaw muscles, right? Herbivores have masseters, all right? And this one that I can't say, okay? Carnivores have this temporalis muscle, all right? Omnivores have this temporalis muscle. Well, again, we go back to this word right here. Ooh, it's storming here. Hopefully the power doesn't go out. We'll see, all right? But there it is, masseter, all right? You're not going to really find this muscle on carnivores, right? And if you do, it won't be as defined, right? All right, mouth to head ratio, all right? Just talking about how large our mouth is compared to our head. Ours is low, carnivores is large, okay? They're just saying they got big mouths in comparison to their head too, all right? We don't. Smaller openings, larger heads, larger brain, you know. All right. Incisors. Okay. Herbivores have wide, flat, spade-shaped incisors, right? Wide, flat incisors. Okay. And actually, I didn't even go further. I skipped ahead. Jaw muscles, real quick. If you look at the strongest jaws of mammals, right? And some of these can be give or take depending on the site that you go for. But look, let's keep scrolling until we find, where's human on that list? Oh, wait, it ain't on the list. It didn't make the top 30. So let's see, where's horse or cow or sheep? Oh, they're not on there either. So again, the point I'm trying to make is if we're talking about strongest jaws, these animals that you see here, they eat meat. Okay? And there's a reason for that. Okay? We'll get into that in just a second. All right? So again, teeth, do we have that one? There you go. So again, we're talking about the fact that herbivores have these flat, wide teeth. Carnivores have these sharp, pointy teeth. So if you look at this picture right here, you got human teeth, right? And you got right next to herbivore teeth. I'm pretty sure if you were to open your mouth right now, give it a big smile, your teeth don't look anything like the teeth that's over here. Nothing. And then you're gonna get the people out there that's gonna say, "Well, we got canines, all right, man. They're dull and blunted." And you got to ask yourself, what about the length and the shape of those canines? Are they long, curved, and pointy like the ones you see in these pictures? This is a bear. This is a tiger. I don't think they are. Okay? Okay, so we're just, again, what I do on this channel, folks, is I bring up a topic, we discuss it, and I give you evidence. Don't make this stuff up. All right? Molars, we generally have flat molars, right? Carnivores are going to have these sharp curved molars. This image doesn't do, yeah, you kind of can see a little bit in the back, but not so much. But the point is, all you got to do is look in your own mouth to see what kind of shape your molars are. All right? Chewing capacity. All right? So, herbivores have a very high ability to chew. Everybody in here has been told since they were children, hey, make sure you chew your food, Mom telling you, chew your food, baby. You don't want to choke on anything. Chew your food, right? All right, so I'm pretty sure you chew. Well, it's quite simple. Carnivores don't chew. Omnivores don't really chew. They chomp. All right, if you just search, right? Look at the search right here. Do carnivores chew? Well, carnivores don't chew their food. Carnivores don't chew their food. They chomp. And this goes back to the jaw strength, right? The reason why these animals have strong jaws is because they have to rip their food into chunks and just swallow it. Okay? And they don't go around chew, right? They don't do that. They rip it off and swallow it. Okay? So again, you can see there's no lips here. I don't see any lips here. I asked that question earlier, right? So again, do carnivores chew? Nope. Do humans chew? Yep. Okay? All right? And let's go to the last couple ones here real quick before we wrap up, y'all. Stomach type, all right? Digestive tract, right? Well, generally, herbivores are going to have either single or multiple chambers, and then carnivores, omnivores are going to have a simple stomach, okay? Also, length of intestine. Herbivores are going to have a long intestine, 9, 10, 11, 12 times their body length. Carnivores are generally, and omnivores are going to generally have shorter digestive tracts. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons is plant foods take more time to get all the nutrients out. So you need time for that food to travel through your digestive tract. Another reason is the toxicity of decaying flesh. Right? If you think about it, the carnivore eats the food. If that meat were to stay in that stomach, the intestine tract for longer than it needs to, now you have some toxicity that you don't want. All right? Think about the last time you left a piece of meat out. What happens to it? It rots. Okay? It rots. And that's what's going on inside your stomach if it stays in there too long, right? So again, this isn't the greatest image that I could find, but the point is, and these are actually longer, right over here. Believe it or not, yeah, gorillas, they're vegans. Gorillas don't eat meat, right? Fact check me. All right. So actually, some of these animals over here on this side actually have 10, 12, even longer digestive tract. But the point is, ours are much longer than meat eaters. Okay. And then last but not least, y'all, I wanted you to look at nails, right? Or claws, if you will, right? Now, I didn't bring up an image of carnivore claws because you can kind of think of those. But the main thing I want you to do is look at your own hands. And then ask yourself, do I have claws or nails that would be described as sharp and turned? And as you look at your nails, nothing about your nails are sharp and turned. Okay, nothing about them. All right, the reason why carnivores have claws is so that they can slash at their prey to kill it or even to rip off flesh for eating. Okay, now if you were to go hunting with this, you're not going to do very well. Okay. Now, the most interesting part I found about this article is that it went through all these long lists of ways that you can describe and differentiate between herbivores, carnivores, omnivores. And I've just shown you further evidence to back up the fact that we have more in common with herbivores than carnivores and omnivores. But at the very end of this article, this is how confused the person who put this together is. Omnivores are still humans, even though we don't have any of the qualities that went with omnivores. I find that interesting. So even this a great article written about the differences, some people are still in denial when the facts are right in front of you, right? So real quick, I wanted to show you this image, and then I'm going to wrap up with a couple of things. This is just a nice little image that kind of shows you the differences between mouth opening, stomach acids, and all these different things. As you can see, it's a long list, right? And this one, I don't know if a frugivore is a thing, but it's just something that they put on the list. Long story short, it's a good list, right? So real quick, if you look at it again, you can look at the differences in the teeth right off the bat. And then if you wanted to look at this and say that's a canine, again, this is still kind of a dull, flat canine when you compare it to this long. It almost looks like it's just a sharp tube almost, right? So again, let's look at some differences real quick. What are some main differences? Acid urine compared to alkaline urine. Let's see, can we scroll? Yeah, our color is over here in yellow. Alkaline urine compared to the acid urine, right? Intestine 1.5 to 3 times. Intestine 3 times the body length. Well, if we go over here, 9 times the body length, right? Let's see. What else? Short colon, long colon, right? Big salivary glands, which means we secrete lots of spit in our mouth. And the reason why we have spit in our mouth is to digest carbohydrates, right? So it starts digesting in the mouth. Well, over here, they got small salivary glands, right? So again, here we go. Big, sharp canine fangs and all that kind of good stuff. And ours are kind of flattened, okay? So again, if you think about it, the differences can't be more clear, can't be more apparent. All right, so you're welcome to pause, check this out if you're watching this on a rewatch. Now, the last little check, so this is just a cool way to look at it. And if you really want to stare at this, and if you really studied this and said, at the end of it, you still came to the conclusion that, yes, I'm still designed to eat meat, then you haven't been paying attention, right? It's that simple, right? Now, last little thing I want to go over. All right, at some point, I always try to mention chronic disease, okay? Because that's the biggest problem, especially in this country, but across the planet, with people dying from disease that they don't have to, right? So if we ask ourselves, what is the number one killer of humans on planet Earth? Well, it's heart disease. It's heart disease. I'm not going to go into the stats again. If you want to check out more on heart disease, go to my chronic disease playlist, and you can get some more information on chronic disease and specific stats, right? Because I want to wrap this video up. But the number one killer of people on planet Earth is heart disease, okay? And one of the questions I always like to pose, if I'm talking to somebody young, if I'm talking to a potential client, if I'm talking to a client, or if I'm just in conversation, one of the questions I like to pose is, well, If everything we were doing in our diet was okay, then why is heart disease the number one killer of people? If everything we were doing was fine, heart disease wouldn't be killing us. Why? Well, let's go find out why as we wrap up. Let's look at all the risk factors for heart disease. Okay. And as you can see, age, obviously, as we get older, smoking, obviously, smoking is bad for everything. Unhealthy diets. Let's start there. Well, diets high in fat. Well, let's see, where do we get our largest sources of fat from? Okay. Well, here we go. And real quick, when we're talking about diets high in fat, we're primarily talking about saturated fat, because unsaturated fats and omega fats are actually good for us. But when we're the fats that we don't need, that's the ones that's contributing to our heart disease. Where do you get saturated fats from? Well, saturated fats, and look what this source is coming from, the American Heart Association. Okay. Where do we get saturated fats from? Animal-based foods like beef, pork, poultry, dairy, eggs. Okay. A little bit from coconut oil. This much. But we're designed to eat these things, yet they're the source of saturated fat. And as we can clearly see, fat is a contributor to heart disease. All right. Well, what's another contributor to heart disease? Cholesterol. Where do we get cholesterol from? Well, let's find out. Where'd it go? Yes, here it is. Cholesterol. And look at the source again, y'all. Look at the source. Okay. Cholesterol comes from two sources. Your liver. We're animals. We make cholesterol. And the rest of it comes from animals. So again, if we're talking about two big contributors to heart disease, which is the number one killer of all humans on planet Earth, and we're supposed to eat meat. We're supposed to eat dairy, right? We're supposed to do these things, right? We're designed for it. Yet those are the same things that are killing us. Interesting. What else is on the list? Obesity. Well, if you don't think high fat, high cholesterol diet contributes to obesity, I don't know how to help you. High blood pressure. I did a whole video on high blood pressure. A high fat, high cholesterol diet contributes directly to high blood pressure. Okay. We could go on and on and on. So hopefully the parallels are growing to the reasons behind why we should give up meat yesterday. All right, so I'm going to wrap up real quick and remind y'all that right now you can go to my YouTube channel right here. You click playlist. You go down to here where it says 3 times a burn. You view that full playlist. You can check out an entire 10 days, entire 10 workouts. That's 2 weeks worth of workouts, 100% free from my 3 times the burn challenge. If you like it, and I'm sure that you will, you can sign up for the full version, which includes 6 more weeks worth of workouts and also includes a nutrition plan, support from yours truly, and much, much more. All right. So make sure you check that out. You can also visit fitnesscharles.com, where you can find out more information about my Fit Forever family if you need something a little bit more detailed and a little bit more in depth regarding your entire weight loss plan. You can click here where you can sign up for a free consultation where I will go over everything in detail about how you can get access and how everything works. All right. You can also, again, as you see right over here, you can go to 3 times a burn right here where it says get started. You can watch a quick little video where I explain exactly how this challenge works. And if you love it, bam, hit that button. You can get signed up immediately. All right. So you can check those out. And also make sure that you're following me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Fitness Charles. As always, like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on. We're streaming every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. So I will see y'all next time. Oh, wait, did we do Q&A? I almost forgot to do Q&A. Great topic, no Q&A today. Wow. All right. Hopefully, if you watch this video after we're finished up today and you have a question, drop it in the comments. I answer those all the time. So again, I will see y'all Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time for my next stream. Until then, as always, make sure that you are being happy, you're being healthy, and you're always being fit for